Now we're going to practice looking at different numbers and deciding whether or not the number is prime or composite. This is when it gets really important for students to know their multiplication facts. That is one of the major ways that they will figure out whether a number is prime or composite. So for example, we have the number 16. The students will be thinking about multiplication tables in their mind to decide how many factors can be put together, multiplied together, to create 16. The way that I usually tackle this in class is I have the students travel along the number line on the positive side through the counting numbers. So for example, we start with 1. 1 times 16 obviously gives us 16. These are the factors that would create the product of 16. Then we go to the next counting number, which is 2. Is there anything that you can multiply by 2 to create 16? And the answer is yes, 2 times 8. Continue up the number line with the positive counting numbers. 3. Is there anything that you can multiply by 3 to create 16? And the student needs to know their multiplication facts, but going through their multiplication facts, they can determine that 3 doesn't multiply into 16. So you go to the next counting number, 4. Does anything multiply by 4 to create 16? The answer is yes, 4 times 4. Continue through the number line. 5? No. 6? 6 times anything that will create 16? No. 7? Think through your multiplication table. No. 8? Yes. 8 times 2 equals 16, which is a fact family that we already have here. So we're finished factoring the number 16. And because we have more than just 2 factors for this number, this is a composite number. One way the students can remember that composite is a number that has many different factors is, for me, the word reminds me of the word complicated. Perhaps you could think of these numbers as a little bit more complicated because they have more than just 2 factors. For example, let's talk about the number 5. Is 5 a prime or composite number? Well, again, I ask the students to think through the number line, the counting numbers, and try and figure out how many ways can they factor to get the number 5. So of course we start with the number 1. 1 times 5 equals 5. These are 2 factors. 1 times 5 equals 5. All right, go to 2. Does 2 multiply by any other number to become 5? And as you think through the multiplication table, the answer is no. 3? Nope. 4? No. 5? Yes, 5 times 1. But we already have that here, 5 times 1. And so this number here is a prime number. It is a prime number because the only way to create the number 5 is to multiply that number, 5, by 1. There are no other factors that can be multiplied together to create the product of 5. Another example. $35. How many ways can we make 35 using our multiplication tables? So we start with the counting numbers. Number 1, yes, 1 times 35 equals 35. And then we continue through the numbers. 2? No. 3 times anything? No. 4 times any other number? No. 5 times any other number? Yes. 5 times 7 equals 35. Then continue through the counting numbers. 6? No. 7? Yes, 7 times 5 equals 35. But we already have that here. So once we hit a fact family that we already have, we're done. We can't go any farther. This number has been completely factored. These are the 2 ways that we can make the number 35. But since we have more than just 2 factors, we have more than just 1 and the number, there is another way to make 35, and that is 5 times 7. And so this is a composite number. Finally, how about the number 7? Okay? So again, we start with the counting numbers. 1 times 7 equals 7. That's easy enough. Are there any other numbers that we can multiply together to create 7? Continue through the number line. 2 times any number? No. 3 times any number? No. 4 times any number? No. 5 times any number? No. 6 times any number? No. 7? Yes, 7 times 1. And we're already there. So, 1 times the number itself is the only way we can multiply two numbers to create the product of 7, and that's what makes this a prime number. So again, composite numbers are numbers that can have more than just two factors. By factors, I mean two numbers that can be multiplied together to create this number. So 16 has 1 times 16, but there are other ways we can make this number using multiplication. We can do 2 times 8, and we can do 4 times 4. That's what makes this a composite number. Remember, composite is like complicated. There's more than one way to make the number, to create the number through multiplication. Prime numbers, on the other hand, the only way to multiply two numbers to have an answer or a product of that number is to multiply 1 times the number itself. There are no other numbers that you can multiply together to get the product of 5. And so, because this is the only way that we can multiply two numbers together to get the product, the number is prime.